It is the people out there in the streets who has the capacity to say if it did it. And it is on those people in the street who I will leave the decision to as to whether this budget did it. Mr. President, when I listen to the government side, it reminds me of a government in India where there was great growth, Senator Rani, in the economy. And they went to an election with the slogan, India is smiling again. And they got a political backsliding. So I've learned over the years, to be wary of numbers. In 2016, we had good numbers too. But the people took the decisions. So it's on that basis that I'd like to address my friend Senator Samuda, praising, self-praise. Because I did learn somewhere that self-praise is no recommendation. I wait for the people to give you the recommendation rather than the self-praise. Because you see, Senator Samuda, all those projects you announced, some of them announced years before. Last year, $6 billion of projects announced wasn't carried out. Last year, under your government, Andrew Holness-led government, Nigel Clark as Minister of Finance, $6 billion of announced projects got nowhere. We were told last year that in Portmore, the Grange Lane road was going to be widened. Well, the only thing makes it look wide, Senator Campbell, is when the beryllium van comes to KFC. And everybody run. Come to KFC, not KC. And everybody run. And the road look wide. And the road look wide. So, I'm used to promises being made by this government and not fulfilled. Senator Bunting, you'll recall that a couple of years ago, there was a big announcement about a new corporate area police headquarters to be situated in no man's land in South St. Andrew.
No, depends. No man, no man.
Yeah. Where is that? Where is that? We were told a couple of years ago that there's going to be a prison in Trelawney. Where is that? And now we are told that there's going to be a private, public prison with somehow no profit. That the private sector is going to come and say, we build a prison, but we don't want any profit. But in the water projects, we want profit. In everything else, they want profit, except the prison. So I've gotten used to these promises. So I will, in fact, they promised a couple of years ago a 6-story building at UWI, which Fenton Ferguson himself announced a couple of years before. Nothing on that. So there was an American ambassador, I think it was Gary Cooper, who said Jamaica has a propensity to applaud announcements. And I am old enough to recognize that he was speaking the truth. So I'm not caught by this announcement. Because the truth be told, Mr. President, these announcements, at the end of these announcements, the question was asked, did I do it? Did I do it? And it was clear to me that Senator this Brown. Budget, you worry about the English?
No, man. Senator Crawford can play with the language and get away with it, you know. I don't suspect that you can.
No. You know, it's interesting, no? It's interesting, no, Mr. President. Well, let me skip that part and come. Because I wanted to be clear that it did it. It didn't do it. And so, Mr. President, we were told before the budget that the government was going to, in 2 weeks, bring a law to deal with the seat belt for children in public vehicles, public passenger vehicles. Much more than 2 weeks have passed since that announcement, and the Parliament hasn't seen such a bill. And it's clear to me that this budget was a response to the devastating poll results that have come. And so, Minister Samola, let me make it clear to you. The demolition of houses, and by the way, media reports said they were ordered by the Prime Minister. Media reports said, good. So we are agreeing that the Prime Minister ordered these demolitions. And so the demolition man, yeah. This is Mr. Samula, President through you. There's a matter in court now. So I'm not going to go there. But suffice it. So there's a matter in court involving somebody arrested. So I'm not going to go there. But if you're saying that person working in the Prime Minister's office is a Klansman, then you know more than I.
So about anti-gang, then I'll go to the rest of
Mr. President, demolition of poor people's house is not going in the right direction. We need a new direction. Time come. Mr. President, $1 trillion budget. $1 trillion budget. But for 5 years, poor people who goes to the care page do not have an MRI imaging facility. For the last 5 years. Poor people at care page have no no CAT scan facility. They have no CAT scan facility. One would expect, if you're going in the right direction, there would have been an announcement that that's going to be corrected. I see a widow is planning to sue the Cornwall Regional Hospital because of the absence of the necessary imaging machinery, and her husband died. bulldoze and come and tell me you went in the right direction. Until then, we need a new direction. Time come for a change. Mr. President, I hear talk about paying down the debt. And let us be clear. We set the 60% of GDP, debt to GDP. We set knowledge, and he hasn't learned it. We set the 60%. When COVID came, the Parliament changed it. I cannot see why we should be rushing to pay off the debt earlier than needed by the law. When the Trelawney Parish Court office, the roof collapsed. Can you imagine my friend Senator Sinclair practicing in the West, being in that courthouse, and the day the roof collapsed? Can you think of the policemen, the judges, the lawyers, the citizens who visit and use that court, being there when the roof collapsed? How many more courthouses may find that while Senator Brown is on his feet, the roof collapsed? God forbid. He has to go in those directions at times. But the reality is, we need to fix the things that affect the people now. So the Trelawney Courthouse collapsing reminds me, Mr. President, of the bridge up in Troy on the border of northwest Manchester and Trelawney that break away. And you tell me leaving those citizens to travel miles is going in the right direction? Oh no, that cannot be in the right direction. Shutting down the Blue Lagoon in Portland, denying the citizens of Portland access to it, can't be going in the right direction. We need a new direction. Time come for that change. Mr. President, the issue of crime. And they're going to tell me, oh, relative to last year, which was a very bad year, there's some improvement this year. What about the years when Bunting was security minister? Bunting was security minister. And the level of crime, murder, was significantly reduced than now. It's certainly for crime not going in the right direction. And as I outlined earlier, Senator Crawford, people are living in fear. One would have thought, President, that a money collecting agency, like what Brinks used to be, Guardsman, Beryllium, whatever the name, that when that comes on the scene, people feel safe. No, people are scared to go to an ATM, and the banks have already shut them out. That's not going in the right direction. And as I say, right now, I see even Mobile, Senator Sinclair, the police are saying, we're planning to deal with these potential. So can you imagine the citizens when they see these units? That tell us the extent of fear. in the country. Senator Samuda, what happened at SSL? What happened at SSL is not going in the right direction.
No, not.
You cannot have some people taking out their money and leaving people, including Usain Bolt,
You saying he did it?
in a precarious position.
You saying he did it?
Some people took out their money. Some people did it. Some people did it. So what happened at SSL is not going in the right direction. Unless for you the right direction is the wrong way. Mr. President, the conflict of interest allegations involving Westcon Company and the Prime Minister is not going in the right direction. Not going in the right direction. And Mr. President, the threat being issued by some in the society to the Integrity Commission is not going in the right direction. I heard the former President of the Court of Appeal and Chairman of the Integrity Commission speaking about death threats to members of staff of the Commission. That cannot be going in the right direction. And I really want to say that those of us who have issued statements calling for the removal of people doing their work in accordance with the laws we pass in this parliament ought to be ashamed of yourself. That's not going in the right direction. The postponement of local government election on the basis of an uncertainty in the economy
But none of these statements
fly in the face
of what they said.
of the greatness
Yes,
and the patting on the back
yes.
by Senator Samuda and Senator Hill thus far. The two are not consistent. Democracy requires that the people be allowed to vote. And so, the postponement of the local government election is not going in the right direction relative to democracy. Mr. President, the fiasco that was the implementation of the Road Traffic Act,
Yes.
not going in the right direction.
Tell them to every child in that carriage.
Not going in the right direction. And Senator Hill, the importation of substandard rice by people politically connected, not going in the right direction. Mr. President, the importation of ganja from Canada is not going in the right direction. Even the Honorable Prime Minister had to throw a minister under the bus.
So didn't he carry the cabinet? He did it.
No, the minister is responsible. The minister will fix it. Watch that space. We have a plan.
You are going to fix it because it went in the wrong direction. And so, Mr. President, the polls are revealing where the people are. The Dan Anderson poll, the Blue Dot poll, they raise the question of trust. And so, I am not fazed by the patting of the self on the back. It's clear to me from my experience and knowledge that you're not going in the right direction relative to where the people want you to go. Mr. President, while I sat here this morning, I'm getting reports about the teachers in the country, deeply concerned about the outcome of the compensation review. That compensation review is a result of a 2015 agreement between the government of Portia Simpson Miller, Peter Phillips at Finance, and the trade unions. I signed on that agreement. A key part of that review was to be comparability. It was to really improve the public sector workers. And I must say, President, that I am disappointed with the outcome. I know you'd fall for that, you know. I know you'd fall for that. But I made a commitment to the president, to the minister. Yeah. It's not your eyes. It's you didn't see what was signed. But I have a commitment to the minister not to discuss publicly what I signed. But I know what I signed, and I look forward to further talks with the minister. Am I disappointed that I signed? I am disappointed with the review, the outcome of the review, because you don't know what I signed. So leave it alone. You don't know what I signed. And I gave the minister my word I wouldn't discuss what I signed publicly. I will. I will share it with you. I will send it to you if you want. So, let us be clear. The teachers weren't treated fairly. The police officers weren't treated fairly. The correctional officers, the firefighters, and a large group in the middle were not treated fairly. And I, as spokesperson public service for the opposition, give the commitment that when we return to power, we're going to fix the problem in that review. We're going to have regard for comparability. We're going to have regard for comparability and to treat those workers properly. We give that commitment. Mr. President, we expect that the government, having agreed with the union suggestion to extend the amount of payment for maternity leave to the public sector, having agreed to introduce paternity leave to the public sector, that they would quickly do the same for the general public. So when you come with the minimum wage in June, fix those at that time. Give everybody 60 days with pay, maternity leave. Introduce paternity leave for everybody who is eligible. And of course, Senator Gill, I am as disappointed as you are. You don't understand it, so I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you. Senator Gill, the Occupation Health and Safety Act seems to have been condemned once again to the dumb heap of the ministry. You and I need to call for the Occupational Health and Safety Act to be part of this budget process, to be funded, because that would be going in the right direction. I grieve, like all of us in this chamber grieve, with the families of the security guards who have been killed and those injured. That's part of occupational health and safety. They go on the job and they can't go home to their family. That's not going in the right direction. So, President, there are a lot to be fixed. And Senator Hill, downtown, I was on UDC board. I know the length of the plans. And Senator Ransford, still chairman, we know how difficult it is, but necessary. We have hope that we'll have had a new prison and we could utilize the lands at Tower Street for greater development. We want to see the country move forward too. We want to see a better direction. We have a fiscal responsibility. A fiscal responsibility which rewards those who made the sacrifice. The workers, the people at KPH, the patients at Cornwall Regional who need those imaging for better health care. We need those. I didn't feel that in the budget. And like Senator Crawford, I didn't think the budget did it. Time come, a new direction is needed. May it please you, Mr. President.
The informative information presented in this video is motivational and is positively aimed at inspiring, educating and entertaining the viewers with the cutting edge of critical reasoning. If you enjoy the contents on the Black Radar YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to show your support.